Triple H panics as Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi declare war before Hell in a Cell. Somebody call a doctor, because Triple H just watched two grown men try to kill each other with a tape measure and a bathroom scale, and he looked like he wanted to fast forward through his own show. That is right, folks, the weigh-in for Brock Lesnar vs. Oba Femi got so heated that WWE had to bring actual police officers ringside, which tells you everything you need to know about how calm and reasonable this whole situation is. Before we get into the chaos, do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell, because Wrestling Rush News is about to break down a storyline that is somehow scarier than anything in your group chat right now. Let's set the scene. This feud did not start last week. This thing has been marinating since WrestleMania 42, when Oba Femi, the reigning king of the ring and current NXT champion, shocked the wrestling world by beating Brock Lesnar clean in Las Vegas. Lesnar, the beast incarnate, a man who has made a career out of ending careers, walked out of Allegiant Stadium and left his gloves and his boots behind in the ring. That is wrestling code for, "I am done," the equivalent of a boxer taking off his gloves and hanging them on the ropes like a jacket on a chair after a bad breakup. Everybody assumed retirement. Everybody was wrong. Because a few weeks later, Lesnar showed back up like the villain in every horror movie who refuses to stay dead, and he did not come back for a hug. He attacked Femi, and then beat him clean at Clash in Italy, evening the score and reigniting a fire that has now been burning for months. Think of it like a video game boss who you thought you defeated, only for the credits to roll and the boss gets back up, dusts himself off, and says, "Round 2. That is Brock Lesnar in a nutshell, and now the rubber match is set for Hell in a Cell at SummerSlam. And here's where it gets spicy. This match is not happening in some neutral city. It is happening in Minneapolis, at US Bank Stadium, which just so happens to be Lesnar's home state, the same place where he won an NCAA Division I wrestling title long before he ever set foot in a WWE ring or an octagon. So this is not just a grudge match, this is Brock Lesnar fighting for his legacy in his own backyard, in front of the people who watched him become a legend before he was ever the Beast. If you are looking for stakes, this is basically a heavyweight boxer headlining a title defense in his hometown, except instead of a ring, it is a steel cage from a horror movie. Now let's talk about that weigh-in, because this is where Triple H earned every gray hair on his head. Femi kicked off Raw by walking straight into the Hell in a Cell structure itself, standing inside the very cage he will be locked in this weekend, which is either supremely confident or supremely terrifying, depending on how you look at it. Adam Pearce and Triple H stepped in to conduct the official weigh-in, and Femi tipped the scales at 302 pounds of pure "I dare you" energy. Then Lesnar showed up with Paul Heyman, and here is the twist nobody saw coming. Brock Lesnar refused to even step inside the cell. Instead, he slammed the door shut and locked Femi inside like he was trapping a bear in a cage before the Safari Tour even started. Heyman, doing what Heyman does best, announced that he personally weighed Lesnar backstage at 303 pounds, 1 pound heavier than Femi, because apparently even the scale needed a storyline. Heyman then dropped one of his signature promos, calling Lesnar the most violent athlete in the history of combat sports, which is quite the sentence to say out loud with a straight face, but somehow Heyman makes it sound like gospel every single time. Picture the tension like two rival gang leaders sizing each other up before a turf war, except instead of switchblades, they have steel chairs, and instead of a back alley, they have a giant cage bolted to the top of the ring. Triple H stood there watching this entire spectacle unfold, probably calculating in real time how much insurance WWE needs for this match, because when Brock Lesnar locks you in a cage and Paul Heyman calls you the most violent human alive, you are not just building a match, you are building a legend or ending one. And that is really what makes this so fascinating. Wrestling legends whisper that this could be the final chapter of Lesnar's storied career, a real send-off in the state where his athletic journey began. But Oba Femi, the man wearing the King of the Ring crown, has other plans, and he is not walking into that cell just to be a footnote in somebody else's farewell tour. This is a rubber match with a 1-1 record on the line, a hometown narrative, and a structure that has ended careers before. WWE Hall of Famer JBL already called it a generational matchup, and after watching that weigh-in, it is hard to disagree. So buckle up, because Hell in a Cell is set for SummerSlam weekend in Minneapolis, and whether this is Lesnar's last stand or Femi's coronation, Triple H better keep those police officers on speed dial. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.